Tuesday, January 15, 2019 is called to order. Ask that you stand, and we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Bud McInnes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our invocation will be by Minister Sophia Smith.
Shall we pray? Father God, we thank you for your love, your mercy, and your grace. Father, your word tells us that you love the children. I believe, Lord, that you really, really love the children, all of them. Yes. But tonight, I pray for the children of Putnam County. Yes. You've given this board authority, Father. They have a daunting task. With authority comes responsibility. So I pray for them, Lord. Loving education is not enough. They have to really, really love the children too. So I pray, Lord, that they will seek your heart, your wisdom, and your guidance for the children. You are faithful and you fail not. I know you hear our hearts cry, and I trust you, Lord. Yeah. I pray your blessings on this board, your favor on our county, and God, most of all, I pray that you would protect our children and keep them, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. You may be seated. Beautiful. At this time, we will have our presentations, recognition of Mr. David Chong, and volunteers from the 50/50 bookstore for their support of the neighborhood mini libraries. Mr. Theobald, Joe Theobald. All right, Mrs. Wild. Okay, all right. That's fine.
I would never want to speak for Mr. Theobald.
Okay,
I'll go ahead
fine.
Today.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We'll come to the mic.
Okay, I'm pretty loud to start with, so I've been told. Nothing would make me happier than to know that reading could spread like the flu, or even become as addictive as shoe shopping or alcohol. So at Middleton Burney, we are doing our best to spread reading to our community. We know that literacy is an issue, but we also know the power of reading. We know that it not only helps our kids with test scores or getting to college, but it makes us more empathetic towards one another. It makes us more aware of other people's points of view. It just makes us kinder and happier and more relaxed. So between that and talking to the people in our community about what their needs are, not just families, but those people that work in our community, they ask for more access to books. And we do have a wonderful library, but it's not easy for everybody to get to it. So what we did was decide to start a free little library or mini library initiative. And some of you, how many of you have seen mini libraries in Palatka? They're the little boxes that you find, some really beautiful ones, by the way. So what we decided to do in Crescent City was start that as well. We didn't have any, so that was the big push. And then, lo and behold, Rebecca Cordova came to our school. Hi, Rebecca, why don't you come up and join me? That'd be awesome. She is amazing. We are so fortunate. And she just happened to say one day, hey, let me know if I can help you in any way. And we said, yes, would you please take over our mini library program? And so that's what she's done with great gusto. And I am most honored and thankful that she's part of our Middleton Burney family, because she has brought in so many books. I actually need an extra book room for all the books that she's sharing with us. So I'd like her to tell you, if that's okay, a little bit about her journey and what she's been doing to help us get our program going.
That would be fine.
And if you want, you can hold that up.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll come.
So we are thrilled to be involved with the Middleton Burney little library program. We have, we being my husband and I, 4 kids in Putnam County schools, and 2 of them are in Crescent City. So it's been really marvelous to join their efforts to reach the community and support the community in the ways the community is asking for. Not just ways school thinks they want, but what they say they want, which are books. So I have lots of contacts throughout the state and reached out to them, asking them to donate as many books as possible. We received shipments from all over the country, many from Alachua County where I work, and just the overwhelming support was incredible. But the greatest gift was someone that I know knows the owner of an entirely volunteer-run bookstore, primarily for educators. So this man takes in books from all over the country and he gives them away for teachers. Wow. And so that's his entire mission. So she connected me with him and he said, your project is great, let me send you 1,000 books. Wow. So he collected 1,000 books from all over the country and shipped them to us. They even paid for the shipping, and they just wanted us to be able to spread books far and wide. So we were honored to receive those texts, and they're out in the community. At least some of them are out in the community now, and we've got plenty more that will go out. So it's been a wonderful thing. It's been wonderful. Great support.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Cardova. And this is something that was created.
Mr. Theobald's going to take a photo.
Okay.
Can we take a photo up here? Yep. Come on up, Rebecca.
I'm just going to take it on behalf
Come
and
front
then
and
we'll
center,
share
and
it.
let's take a photo up here.
Okay.
Yeah. And Felicia's going to take one also.
With Joe in it.
Yeah, well, let's get Joe in there after.
Yeah, you need to be in it.
There we go. There we go.
Mrs. Cardova, will you read the plaque, please?
And the plaque says, presented to David Chung and the volunteers at 50/50 Bookstore in appreciation for your dedication to Middleton Burney Elementary School and our Crescent City Community Literacy Project.
Very
We do
good.
thank
Thank
him.
you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
And again, we thank you.
Just so you know, we have 2 out and we have 8 more to go, and we'll continue to keep putting those out.
Very
And
good.
thank you all
Thank you,
for
Nancy.
what you're doing. Yes. Okay, at this time, we will have paraprofessionals, 2 professional program by Dr. Canellis. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
You did.
St. Leo College.
She's a wonderful lady.
Okay.
I don't know about that, but then thank you all for having me tonight. So in an effort to help school districts generally, and specifically Putnam County, with their whole recruitment for teachers and teacher retention, we have developed this new program. And the program is really called Paras to Pros. The whole title, so you can understand it, is Paraprofessionals to Professionals. So our focus is to help districts use their homegrown paraprofessionals, those that are already dedicated to the school district or already assisting students, and help them become professionals, which will eventually help with teacher retention. Our focus is with our 2 primary programs. So we are seeking to certify paraprofessionals in elementary education, which would be K through 6, and then in middle grades education, specifically for social science and for English. So a little bit about the program. Again, we want this to be a true collaboration between the school district and St. Leo University. So what we're asking is that within the district identifies paraprofessionals that the district wants to see become professional educators. Those that have an associate's degree, those that have shown more than 3 years of work and dedication to the district. And the reason why is because we want educators to go through this program that will remain in these positions as a career. We've noticed the trend is that many current educators resign from their positions after a couple, usually after their 2nd year. So what we want is we want those that are already dedicated to the community, already serving these students. Let's see, a couple of the benefits specifically to this program is that we will have targeted professional development. My goal specifically as the associate chair is to make sure that these graduates are successful. I have 3 children, 1 in elementary, 1 in middle, and 1 in high school, so I'm personally invested in this because the future of our children is relying on the educators that we have out in the field. So the first one is professional development. Upon completion of the program, every semester in the program, they will have targeted professional development that the district has selected. So for example, the district uses iReady. One of those semesters, the professional development will focus on iReady, which means that upon completion of the program, they will have the skills to walk into the classroom and be a full-time teacher, knowing what is expected of them. The second semester is use of technology. Third semester, we have diversity and how to handle students with diverse backgrounds, linguistic, academic, social. And then their final semester is either collaboration with other professionals as well as parent-teacher communication. We are leaving a window open there because we want to have district recommendations coming to us as we build on this program. Again, it's a state-approved program, so upon completion of the program, they will be qualified and have a professional teaching license. We've seen an increase nationwide, actually, of educators coming the alternate route, which means that they have a bachelor's degree and then they try to pursue teaching. Some of them are phenomenal, outstanding educators. The problem is that the state has certain requirements that are becoming exceptionally hard to meet. So when those educators come from a state-approved program, they've met all those exam requirements, they've met the program requirements, and then really the focus is to get a commitment from the school district that if we're working with the school district hand in hand to develop these educators, we want the district to commit to hire them upon completion of the program. The other thing we're asking is that we are offering a lot of financial aid. No, it's not going.
It's really important.
So I will come back to some of the benefits, but there are a lot of financial aid opportunities within the program. We already have a 10% discount, which is a discount program with the school district. It's already been in place for years. What that means is that for every full-time and part-time employee of Putnam County School District, we give a reoccurring 10% discount. So automatically, our current tuition is $360 per credit hour, but automatically the tuition drops by $432. And then the EASE grant is a grant, it's the former FRAG, that's what it used to be called. That's automatically awarded to students as long as they are Florida residents. We participate in the TEACH grant, so as long as you meet the qualifications and the requirements for it, everybody will receive it as long as they have the GPA from that the state requires, which is a 3.0, and then as long as they're a Florida resident. So that's $2,000 on top of it. And that is not including, if you see on the PowerPoint too, that's not including the Florida Funds for Minority Teachers. That's not including Pell Grant. That's not including any of the military assistance or prepaid, Florida Bright Futures and so forth. So essentially, the out-of-pocket cost that we've packaged for these candidates would be between $260 to $350. We are trying to get a flat rate, so I'm in the process of that with our university. One of the things we've asked is to either have the district help financially these educators complete their program, or an idea also came up of possibly helping with funds for books. So instead of helping with tuition, helping the funds with books. So I am projecting that and as an idea so that we can motivate more educators. So a couple of the, benefits of our program, I think I've already mentioned quite a few of them and jumped around, but one is the free application to the program. Again, we are offering free to all of our candidates, teacher candidates, GK, which is the general knowledge exam, subject area, and professional ed workshops and courses. So we have some online modules, we have face-to-face trainings, we also have some trainings that are available virtually. All of that is free to all of our St. Leo students, so that will also be available to anybody in the district that once our collaboration begins. We have flexible practicum placements, which is one of the hardest issues, one of the problems that most of the candidates who are paraprofessionals encounter. The problem is that they have to leave their current employment to fulfill those hours. So within the program, they will remain in their place of employment to fulfill those hours. We will work with them to make sure that if for some reason they are in a type of classroom where the specific lesson cannot be taught, we will work with them so they only need to be released for maybe an hour within a week to complete that within their school of employment. That's awesome. What we are asking of the school district is to keep them on the payroll for their final internship, at which they will have to move from their current place of employment, but we're bringing it to a minimum of 10 weeks, and what we are asking is that you place them in a classroom that you may have an opening so that upon completion of that program, they can turn to a full-time teaching position. So it's not new to them, they're familiar with the environment, they've already been trained. Again, we will have supervisors on hand. We will be assisting them, observing them, providing feedback throughout the entire program. I personally oversee the program, so I will be very much involved in it. There'll be on-site courses, there will be online courses, and one of the most important components is that upon completion of this, even though we feel that they will be ready to walk into the classroom, we are offering a 1-year free mentorship for every completer. So every program completer will get a full year of mentorship free of cost to them and to the district.
And of course, the district has our novice teacher mentor program, so we provide a lot of support as well. But I mean, that's a great idea. And these are growing our own people, and these people are going to stay. They're not going to run off to another county.
And that is the focus. The focus is to grow from within, because a lot of the paraprofessionals you currently have are doing much of what a regular teacher should be doing, and they're dedicated to these students, and they're part of your community. They won't be leaving. So that's an overview of the program. The PowerPoint does have some more details for you all to review.
I have a question.
Let me see. Yes, ma'am.
When do you plan to start advertising? And I mean, is this something we have to vote on, or y'all decide? Or I mean, I'm ready for it to start.
So we are asking a couple of things in order to get this moving with the school district. We need a minimum of 10 students so that we can offer an on-site cohort. We have relocated, so now our site, our location, which is a beautiful location, is near Jacksonville. It's at the Oak Leaf Town Center. So what we are doing is we will bring the program here to you all.
So it would be at night or after
It will be at night. It will be usually three nights a week from between 6 to 8:30 in the evening. We will bring everything to you here, as long as we have a minimum of 10 candidates, which I think we could probably meet. Yes. So we're asking for the space. We're asking that you give us the space. We're asking that you help recruit these paraprofessionals, because I do not want a group of paraprofessionals that you would not potentially want to hire within the school district. So we're asking that you help promote that. And then really, I want the commitment. We're asking for that commitment from the school district to hire these candidates upon completion of the program.
Well, Dr. Canellis, I'd like to interject a minute. I used to work for you, and I worked with budding interns, and did this, some of the mentorships and overseeing kids and our kids, grown-ups, and our prospective teachers and internships. But I'd like to just as a board member, direct the superintendent to get with his recruitment staff and come back to us with a recommendation on this, because you're going to have to figure out if cost and space and things like that. And I know we have in the past discussed a future of maybe laboratory school situation with St. John's River State College, but we're nowhere near close to that right now. And it may be that down the road we work a lab situation with high poverty schools to train students regionally here. So anyway, if you'd come back to a recommendation with us as soon as possible.
Yeah, I sure will. And I want to point out that they are not competing with any other programs right now. It's all an umbrella of like bridge to bachelor's programs. I know NEFAC has some initiatives and all, and NEFAC actually is going to be working with Dr. Canellis on, planning and that type of thing. So we're all in this together.
She's wonderful.
Well,
We definitely want to see this be successful.
And I'd just like to say, every possible obstacle that I could think of, you've overcome that with the finances, making sure that they get paid while they're doing this, because that's one reason a lot of them don't, is because they can't afford to quit their job.
And they can't afford to be without insurance.
Right.
And this way they
That
will
too,
keep their health
yes.
insurance throughout the program.
Actually,
They're not going to have to drive out of county. I mean, everything.
and actually many of the things that she spoke of, like going into a retiring teacher's room or someone who would be leaving, many of our principals have worked out with these situations with them. So that's not uncommon. So I think it'll be even better, but we first need to have the superintendent get with staff and see where we are. I'm
So
optimistic it'll be
You
good.
asked about when we would like to start. I would like to have a cohort started in the fall.
Yeah, me too.
So that way we can have them, fall meaning August, we can have a cohort and we can start working together.
Awesome.
So I'll meet with, I'll get Ms. Whitehurst. She's already been meeting with Dr. Canellis, and I'll get Ms. Whitehurst to sit down and we'll draw up a proposal to bring back to you.
Okay,
and
thank
so-
you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And so the potential candidates will come where recommendation of would possibly come from the administrator at that school along with
Yeah, I
your
think they would need
management.
their sign.
So the requirement for admission will be that they will have to have a recommendation from their principal and then a recommendation from the school district supporting that.
And the AA.
And they have to have their AA conferred, and then we have to have official transcripts, because sometimes we get students that say they have their AA and they're very close to it, but they don't quite have it confirmed yet. So, and that becomes a problem.
Well, the superintendent would need to clarify that, because really the district can hire teachers or prospective teachers and line them up, but I don't think that'll be a problem with principals at all.
I don't know if you have any questions or any concerns that you...
Is there a number, office number, something where we could reach you?
Yes, ma'am. It's all in here, and also Mrs. Whitehurst and Dr. Surtsey have the information. It's actually in the PowerPoint.
Okay,
we
we
have a
don't
copy
have
of
the
it?
We can
PowerPoint.
get a copy to you.
Okay, all right.
The superintendent has
I may have some business cards with me, I may not. You asked for if there's a maximum. Yes and no. I would like to keep them at about 15 per cohort. I'm open to working with the school district as to when to start one, have it open so that we're starting. I think it would be preferable to start one per academic year, but if the district feels that there is a greater need, I can certainly work around that. We do have the middle grades and elementary program, so it could be 15 for each. It just depends on what the needs are for the school district. And the other thing we talked about was even working collaboratively with St. John's so that the district can hire paraprofessionals that actually have an AA conferred. They can stream into the program, and then they can finish the program within 2 years.
Good idea.
I just don't want us to put money into them and them go to St. John's. That's what bothers me.
I agree with that, and that's why they have to sign. My recommendation here is that they actually sign a contract for a minimum of 3 years.
Okay.
So if they are receiving any type of funds, So, and it's in fine print that, so you'll be able to see it once you receive the MOU, but the district has the right to let go based on that first year it's not even a first year, based on that evaluation. However, the candidates, if they're receiving any type of financial assistance, meaning that they're going through this program, they have to commit to a minimum of 3-year employment through the school district.
Many of them are here for good.
Yeah.
You know, they're here.
Most of them are here for good.
The majority.
Most of them are homegrown. And the other catch is that if they have applied for the TEACH grant, they have to work for a Title I school for a minimum of 3 years, or they have to return.
And that's all of them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or they have to return the money back to the state.
And I've been
So-
going over the new bills before the legislature in Florida, and I was thinking that we really do need like we had the ESOL endorsement, we need an endorsement for Title I schools the same way like you're talking. I think that would probably should pay the people more money, you know. So anyway, that's
Well, the
up to the
focus.
superintendent. I know he's working on some of that stuff.
So for our idea is that because most of the schools are Title I schools, that's why we want to work with the school district so that we are focusing that professional development for the district.
We're Title I
Because not all districts are Title I, so
great it is
that's
to
the
come
primary
and know you
focus.
Oh,
I
yeah.
may have taken a little more time than I was allocated, so thank you so much. Again, if you have any
Thank you.
questions, please forward them on to me, and have a great evening. And
Thank you,
rest of the
Dr.
meeting,
Canales.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we will have public hearing. Amendment to policy number 7240, site acquisition and disposal of real property.
I make a motion, we approve.
I second. All right, it's been motion by Mr. Buckles and second by Mrs. Pickens that we accept the amendment to policy number 7240, site acquisition and disposal of real property. Do we have to get everyone?
Is this a poll, or do we all?
Poll? Are we good?
Yeah, can you, we'll do it by a roll call
By
vote.
district,
Roll
yeah.
call,
Is there any
okay.
further discussion?
Well, the only, now that we've proposed it, and I've made a motion, I just want to clarify, this is strictly language changes Neola has put in, or is this a
Yes,
district?
This is,
This is not a Neola policy, but it has been reviewed by
By Neola.
Dr. Clark.
It's
it's on
one
there.
that, the one that you have
Yes, sir.
put together. So that's all the questions I had. I thought it was necessary, okay.
okay, we ready?
Okay, District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes,
District 3,
Yes,
District 4? Yes. District 5?
Yes.
okay. And nothing else has to come from us, okay? All right, at this time, public comments, and I don't have a copy of the public comment guides, but when you come to the podium, if you will, state your name, your address for the records, and you will be given 3 minutes to share with the board and those that are listening. Does this need to be read?
That's just your guidelines.
No, that's just in case there's.
All righty, so we're set.
someone
All right,
going to keep
So
a
we do
clock?
have 2 cards here. The first one wishes to address the board, general comments on the subject of discipline. The organizational name is CELO, our 6th grade center. That's the Charles Overturf 6th grade center. And the name of the person making the public comments will be Edward Wiles. So.
let them
Ms.
read it into the record with their address when they come up.
All right, Mr. Wiles.
Come up.
They're the ones that sent us the letter.
Before we get started, there's usually a time limit and a number of employees that can speak, but I
We'll
mean.
let them all come.
Okay.
I do have a prepared statement. Would you guys like a copy?
I would.
If you have copies.
I do. Edward Wilds, 2407 Lee Terrace, Palatka, Florida. So I'm a math teacher at CL Overturf 6th Grade Center, and I am been asked to speak tonight on behalf of the staff at CELO, as well as other schools represented. Are there other teachers who would like to stand to say you're with us on this? Our schools are currently dealing with crucial issues that are affecting the overall success of our school system. Disruptive behavior is wreaking havoc on educators in our county on a daily basis. At CELO, there's a small percentage of students affecting a much larger percentage of the student body with disruptive behavior, making it difficult to fulfill our responsibility of educating children. The disrespect from students is out of control while the consequences are grossly insufficient. We have written over 700 referrals in just the 90 days we have been in school this year. This is an average of 8 per day. Again, there's a small percentage of students that make up the majority of these referrals. While we understand this is a direct reflection of our lack of parental support, we understand that we cannot control that factor. As teachers, we are reminded to only focus on the things we can control. The lack of ability to properly discipline the students is the biggest concern that we can control. We need alternative placement for these heavy hitters other than the 3 allotments at Solutions, which would allow us to provide the highest level of education possible to the much larger student population. To say teachers are frustrated would be a huge understatement. Excellent teachers who were once very passionate about their career are now discouraged to come to work every day. Some teachers are even contemplating whether they want to continue a career in teaching, including veteran teachers. We chose to be teachers to make a difference, but now it's become a daily chore of constant discipline disruptions and students controlling the schools. As you know, there's currently a shortage of teachers in Putnam County, around 15 vacancies. CELO has around 100 students without a certified math teacher due to a teacher resigning in the first 9 weeks. Later, we hired an experienced certified math teacher. She made the statement on her first day, "I've never been so disrespected as a person and as a teacher." She resigned 7 days later. I'm sure I can speak for everyone standing here tonight when I say that we became teachers because we were passionate about teaching. Unfortunately, teaching has changed. Compassion is quickly turning into compliance. Teachers who have always gone above and beyond are now tempted to do the bare minimum. Teachers who were once invested are looking to get out as quick as they can. Now, it is important to note that CELO's administrators are supportive and focused on helping teachers create the best learning environment possible. And this is no way a reflection on them or other administrative members at other schools. In 2017, CELO earned a D from the state based on the FSA results. As a school, everyone came together to prevent this from happening in 2018. CELO was able to not only improve by 1 letter grade, but 2. The excitement and enthusiasm was at an all-time high. Everyone was motivated to continue the momentum. However, it quickly changed when we realized the daily extreme behavior problems would make it beyond challenging to fulfill this aspiration. The issue is that we are no longer able to teach because of a small population of students monopolizing our time. This isn't right for the teachers who want to teach and for the students who want to learn. We are not scared of challenges, which we proved last year, but like every teacher in the district, we must be given realistic environments to do our jobs. We realize the district has made great strides in the last few years, but if this trend continues across the county, it will surely regress. We need your help to make teaching great like it once was, because our fear is real. We have lost and will continue to lose good teachers if something doesn't change. This is a crisis that can no longer be ignored and not dealt with in Putnam County. Thank you, Superintendent and Board, for allowing us to express our concerns.
Thank you for having the courage to come in and speak to us.
Well, while we have you guys up here, I mean, board members, do we have any questions people want to ask?
I'm well aware of what they're going through.
Yeah, we have as a board, and I have, we've been putting off a discipline workshop for about 1.5 to 2 years now. And I said earlier in the year, we unified as a board to say we would put it off till about February and see what we could do. And the superintendent is planning on getting with staff and putting together some ways that we can not only crack down on this crazy stuff going on at school, but, you know, find ways and measures to help keep control, even if that means, you know, support you guys. And I know recently all these board members from time to time will sit on expulsion committees, but I recently sat on one, and the parents were trying to debate the fact that they didn't have it on video. And I said, you know, really the law doesn't have to have it on video. If a teacher says it happened, it happened. It doesn't matter if you've got a witness. So we've gotten away, I think, all across America. It's not just Putnam County, but you guys are feeling a real pinch that I think is symptomatic of what we're all dealing with. So I'll let the other board members ask questions, but I know that it's ripe and you're serious, and it is not good. And I look forward to us getting to the meat of it and seeing what we can do.
too.
If it's adding additional units, we'll try to find a way to do that. It'll be whatever the committee and the superintendent and all of us can work out. We'll try to do it together.
Madam Chair, whenever you finish with your questions, I've asked Mr. Hedstrom, our Student Services Director, to come and present some information to you on some initiatives he's working on to specifically address the issues at CELO. And
All right.
at your pleasure.
Before we do that, have we scheduled a meeting for February, a board workshop? Because I'd like for us to do that.
We've
right
got some
now.
workshops, but I was going to ask when. I know we've been talking
Because
about
we've
the
been
discipline one.
asking-
Well, I wanted to leave it up
months.
to staff, because if you have a meeting like tonight, you can't get all the district employees here that we may need.
Oh, I know, but
And
we need to
so, but I mean, that's
quit
up to
putting it off.
That'll be up to the superintendent. Well, okay, I agree with you,
I
yes.
know,
ma'am.
you've been asking for it.
Okay, but I think it's up to Rick to kind of put it together and let us know a specific
Well,
time.
if you'd like to have a workshop on discipline, I've been waiting to schedule it till after the new board got together. So
Yeah.
Our principals
Will you schedule
need
it?
to really give us some info on this as well, because there's some old tried and true solutions that might not be too palatable to parents, but we can look at everything. Kim, you remember that for sure,
Again,
don't you?
Yes, sir.
Again, as a board, we thank you, and we can't say thank you enough for all that you do. And we are honestly and earnestly going to look into helping to make a difference so that you can continue in this profession that you love. So at this time, we're going to hear from Mr. Hedstrom, and then the superintendent is going to get together with the management team, I'm sure, and going to come up with some dates for a workshop, and we will make sure it's at a time
When
where
y'all
you
can
all
come.
can come and not have to, leave your class.
Madam Chairman, can I ask you, yeah, I was going to ask you if it would
give me
be,
one of them. Put one of them.
I don't really care for night meetings. I know it's available to people who have jobs during the day, but
I love them.
we don't get district staff that, that can get off. They have to be compensated somehow, whether it's with some type of
Thank you.
work-related
Every county.
time off, or, whatever we do at night. We can't always get everybody here to answer questions, but if you guys want to come, we probably should hold an evening workshop, so.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Tuesday, if you would.
Well, I was thinking of the Paw Patrol, my grandson.
That'd be good.
Paw Patrol.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank the teachers for bringing this to our attention and appreciate you coming. I went out and met with them twice. And I appreciate the fact of, if we don't know about it, there's nothing we can do about it. So it's very good that you step forward. And I've been in the public school system a long time, and I know that it is not like it used to be, that there are some issues, and I realize that. But one of the things that when I heard about this, I read the letter that you had sent to the board. Then we went to some workshops, and I was thinking about this since I've been put in this situation. So we've come up with what we call a Hope Squad, and I'm working with my mental wellness people. We have 4, so I'm working with them to start a pilot program. And basically, the Hope Squad is helping others persevere every day. And so it's sad when you have to send a kid home, and suspend them or expel them from a school system. I know y'all don't want that. But also it's sad when you walk in a classroom and you see a teacher really frustrated and not being able to educate all. And the worst thing is to see kids sitting there that are just as frustrated as the teacher is. And we have that. So with this, there's several kinds of programs. My thing is not to punish kids, but to change their behavior. Teach them how to behave in an academic setting, you know, hallways, classrooms, cafeteria. So this is a program that we put together, and it starts February the 4th. We have 6 sessions that we'll pull the kids out, and I've talked to Mike Tucker, and we'll pull them out of their 5th or their end of the day schedule 2 days a week, and we'll have 6 sessions with them. It'll go as far as 11 sessions, but what we're going to teach them is how to be kind to others, you know. We'll also, and we're picking the kid. We didn't pick these kids. CELO picked these kids. It's the top kids. There's 16 of them, and it's the top kids that have had the most referrals since the beginning of school. So we're not picking just, we let CELO pick these kids out. And so we will work with them, and hopefully what we're going to look at is see after they finish that, and it does finish up, the duration is over March 11th, and so when that's over with, we'll be able to see if this program has helped from first semester, to see if they've changed some of their behavior. If not, then it's up to, you know, they might lead up to and be put up for expulsion, you know. But that's one of the programs, and one of the other programs that I started at elementary schools was a lot of times our kids, they just having a rough time, and they're causing havoc in the classroom. So I've talked with the elementary school, because they don't have a place to send. They don't have a solution center. So I've worked out with what's called a 5-day plan. And what we do is change their schedule, where they come in the afternoon for a short period of time. One of my requests is that these kids learn behavior skills, coping skills. What's setting them off in the classroom, what are their misbehaviors, and learn those coping skills, how to act in an academic setting, you know. And then they also get their education that's basic on their 4 core, you know, and concentrate on that. And it doesn't count against suspension. The parents do have to bring them. They can ride the bus home, but the parents do have to bring them, okay? And the other thing is, I've talked to Mr. Simons out there, and we've looked at, and I've talked to the superintendent about starting a solution center for K through 6, just like CELO has brought up. They have more. I went through their disciplines. Ms. Laura France ran me a copy of all the referrals that have been written. There was 14 kids that had over six referrals at CELO. You know, and those are the kids and those kids are the ones that are in the Hope Squad. But those are some of the things that we're doing in some of the programs that we're starting, board, just to let you know.
You know, unfortunately for the teachers and the public schools, when you crack down on discipline, and the superintendent and the director of student services would be more knowledgeable of this right now, but you're based on how many fights you list and what constitutes a fight, and you wind up not only being declared a graded school, which the object is to try to set standards where they'll have F schools, but you'll be rated as a dangerous school.
Right.
So that means if you crack down on discipline and you take a hard stance, you're going to be labeled a dangerous school, and therefore vouchers can be sent to send a child somewhere else. So, you know, I always used to follow the policy that the more referrals you have, the more you're trying to get order and take care of it. So, and the more you expect, and that starts out a little heavy and then it slacks off. But I think Randy's got a good start. But I do look.
This is a positive approach, and like Randy says, it's about changing behavior.
We can do negative, but it's going to be
a lot of these students don't have the background to know how to act, and they need to be taught, and we have the professionals to.
Yes, the mental wellness counselors will be hitting and doing that also. One way to get parent involvement, I thought we could do uniforms. I thought that would be a good idea.
That'll get them all in, won't it?
Mr. Hedstrom.
We may wind up paying for
Down that road.
Have the 6th graders that are caught, were they tracked in elementary school? Were they behavior problems, or is this something that occurred?
Yes, they were, and a lot of that came up in the meeting that I spoke to CELO with, and one of their their issues were with the IEPs. There's a lot more help at the elementary school than there is at the middle school. Means a lot of hands on the ground with smaller kids. And also, those schools that they're coming from are getting extra money for the situation that the school's in. And that gives a chance to put extra people on the ground to help. Now, when they go to CELO doesn't have that. And the IEPs don't necessarily transfer and follow over there with them. And the transition meetings and stuff that they need to make sure that they stay on top of. But that's one of the issues that we did talk about, and that we talked that just CELO in that situation. Sadly enough, if they wouldn't have went up, and they would have been, then they would have had some extra money. But you know, you don't want to go that direction. I've been at the school. Yes, you keep going the way that you're going, and we'll do everything we possibly can. And please feel free to contact me. I'll come out to the school and help you out any way I can.
I can tell you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
How are the parents involved in this? I hear what the teachers are doing. Great. And
Ms.
the
Our
efforts you
parents,
all are
you
making.
really
What
don't.
are we doing to pull them into this to help us to change this?
Well, one of the part of that is that they have their what we're doing with the parents of these. We're sending home that we are going to do this. This is a part of discipline, and a lot of the parents want help. They're as frustrated as we are, and they don't know what to do. You know, and so this is a way that we feel like, and it's not going to be a negative type thing. We're trying to make it as positive.
Right.
Have the kids write letters of kindness to other fellows and try to show them how to act and be kind to others. It's really
respectful of
exactly how to act in an academic setting.
We'll get into even more details in the workshops, but
and certainly would be a part of it.
I will say that this board as a whole will be behind the superintendent and staff and you teachers 100% in doing this, because we've all been there. We've all been right there.
Sure have.
We've taken guns and knives and stuff off of kids. We've all been spit in the face and cursed out, and you know, and have parents come in and have to arrest them. So, you know, but you talk about the parents. You sit in expulsion hearings, which years ago were public, were open to the public, and would be held in school board meetings. Now they're closed, and rightfully so, according to FERPA violations and laws. But when you sit in here and you see a parent who has never had custody of their child, and they've taken their child back because the child is living in a drug dwelling and there's nobody there to be the parent, I mean, it happens. It's really, there's not a expulsion hearing that we go through that we don't hear some story that where a kid doesn't have any life rope. But I mean, when it comes time to fish or cut bait, we're going to be behind the teachers, because as they used to say in Star Trek, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And you can't educate if you've got somebody that's going to continue to create disruption and be disrespectful to teachers and treat them terrible. So I look forward to this.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hedstrom. Okay, second speaker wish to address the board on the subject of STEM meetings and evening meetings. And the organization is parents of, I'm not sure, is this of five students? And this is Mr. Paul Adams. Okay? Adamsack, I'm sorry. Okay.
He likes to hunt like I do, so that's a good thing.
I'm Paul Adamsack, 150 Spooner Road out in Hawthorne, better known as Johnson, where I'm at. Here just to talk, I went to the summit for STEM last Thursday, I think it was, put together by Dr. Coleman. It was a great event. Wish I would have seen a little more people from the public there. I went there under the premise that my 7-year-old daughter wanted to know more about the technology that's going on. I'm a technologist myself. I've been in the computer industry for 22 years. And I wanted to hear what was happening in the district, but my 7-year-old daughter also had interest when my wife and I were talking about the meeting, so I brought her along. She actually sat there calmly until she hit her head. But that's the one thing I just want to thank the board and thank Dr. Cerncy and Ms. Coleman for putting that together. That was a very good time. The second thing is, contrary to your dislike to evening meetings, I think this showing here that we saw today is an example why we need more evening meetings. I mean, we have that many teachers. I've been to several of these meetings, whether it was during the day, during the evening, and today we see all these teachers here, they stood up and they said what they wanted to say. I was segueing more for parents, but after I saw that, I just want to work off of that. I think it gives our employees, your employees, the opportunity to come and say what they want to say. And I think as more groups like they show up, I think you're going to find more teachers that are more comfortable to come to the meetings and speak their mind, say what they want to see in the district, and see what they want to do for our students. From that, I mean, I was more along the lines of the county commission until I saw that we were having evening meetings again. I did put together a proposal off of a Facebook post, obviously, that was going around, and about 55 people commented on it for the county commission, and that was around having maybe every other meeting be an evening meeting. Their concern was around overtime costs. I don't know what your costs would be like for evening meetings. So that would kind of balance it. It would give the public and their employees and stuff the opportunity to come to the meetings and say what they wanted to say, and also allow them on every other meeting to have that cost, you know, not as detrimental to them. I don't know if that falls for you guys, but I would just like to see more evening meetings. I know we got 3 more this year. I'll be at every one of them that I can be.
Paul, let me just, since I did mention that, on and off for 30 years, I've seen go to evening meetings and people don't show up. And for meeting after meeting, and we go to West Putnam and South Putnam and the Palaca area, and they don't show up. Now, tonight we had a great contingent. Normally, when there's a volatile issue, we get a letter and we know that there's a volatile issue, so we'll change the venue of the board meeting to an auditorium, and we've had 1,000 people show up at a board meeting. So, I mean, it's not that, the problem is we have district staff who are not paid to come at night, and they may have a function in another county or have leave, and they're not here to answer the appropriate questions that are going to be talked about. But it's up to the board. They'll decide, and it's just traditionally not been well attended.
If you don't mind if I respond back.
So, Paul, we've got 4 this year, so, you know, hopefully, I mean, I've talked about before, you know, in the past about having every other one, you know, one of the meetings a month at night. We'll get there maybe.
Yeah, we'd love to see that.
That's fine.
The count, I mean, my basic premise before I heard them get up and speak is, I think part of any elected group is you're responsible to be available in your meetings, whether it's, I understand that you put them out there. My original thing to come in was to say this, is to be available to people that want to come. People aren't going to be interested in coming to every meeting, but you don't know if that one thing you have on your agenda is interesting to 2 or 3 people that wouldn't come otherwise.
Yeah, it's easier for me to come to a night meeting, but it's not for 25 or 30 district staff and principals and people at schools.
Understood.
But that's okay.
But at the same time, we have high schools not getting out until 4 o'clock.
Right.
So we start a meeting at 3:30, and those teachers in the south end or the west end, they can't even get here before we finish.
Almost done, correct.
Yeah.
And that's why
even elementary schools can't.
And that's why we bounced around over the years from the west end to the south end to, back in 2, and then you had all the district staff driving repeatedly to the ends of the county. But it's okay. I don't have a problem trying it for another year. It doesn't matter. Whatever the majority of the board wants. I'm just saying from experience, it hasn't worked very well.
Yeah.
I think our next night meeting is in April, March or April.
Yes, it's April.
I
just feel like
suggesting you might take a look and see what the for the next couple of night meetings, see what the attendance looks like.
And I will say I was at all the ones last year, and they were all well attended.
Well, yeah, and you know why.
Yeah, but tonight was a surprise, so it actually helped my
it was a surprise
conversation.
To me too.
So, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay, we do not have any more. That ends our public comments. At this time, we are ready for our consent agenda.
Madam Chair, you have to see who's, I have nothing to pull.
Let's start with Mrs. Pickens.
I had my questions answered the other day, so I'm good.
Okay,
I'm
Mr.
good.
Buckles? Mr. McInnes?
I have nothing
Mrs.
to
Crawford?
pull. I got all my questions answered.
Okay, and I got all of my questions answered. Okay, so.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as delivered to us.
I second that.
It's been moved and second, moved by Mr. David Buckles and second by Mrs. Jane Crawford, that it be accepted as printed. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Let it be known by the word aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye.
Let's wait till they quit talking.
Opposes?
Motion passes. There you
Motion
go.
passes.
Good deal.
5-0. Okay, at this time, we don't have anything, any emergency items. We do not have any discussion of unfinished business. So at this time, we will go to our discussion of new business. Item number 1, discussion, presentation of instructional material plan, math adoption. Mrs. France?
And Miss Rivera.
All right, and Mrs. Rivera, okay.
You know, it takes me a minute. I have
Is
to
she your
calm
support
myself.
system over there?
She definitely is. You're all my support system. You just don't know it. So this year has been a really exciting year in learning this new position and relearning this amazing district. And this year happens to be an adoption year for mathematics curriculum materials. So tonight, we want to share with you all our instructional materials plan, and we want to share with you the materials that we are recommending at this time for adoption. But before I name those materials out, I just wanted to just really quickly give you a couple of highlights of the process this year. We've been very fortunate to get to work with our partners, NEFEC, and then the Instructional Partners Organization, to provide some professional learning for our math content experts as deemed by their administrators and some district administrators here in Putnam. And so we were able to gather an amazing team and take them and really strengthen their vision of mathematics instruction in our district before we set forth on this process. And so that team consisted of teachers. We had a few administrators with a strong mathematics background, which was exciting. I learned a lot, I'll say that. And we had some coaches and content specialists. And we had folks, we asked every school to send a representative. Let's not be this time. We asked every school to send a representative. Some were not able, but some sent a couple of folks to have input at the very beginning of the process and really strengthen their understanding around mathematics. In October, we attended the NEFEC Instructional Materials Fair. And then we were able at that time to complete some rubrics together as a team. That team made some suggestions, and before Christmas we were able to bring in their top 2 selections for both elementary and secondary, and we brought together a new team of teachers to come and look, listen, ask questions, dig in, look at standards alignment, etc. And we had several of those folks in the room with us earlier. We may still have a few. Yeah, we do have a few with us right now. Thank you, Bobby, and lots of other folks if I'm missing you. But we had an amazing team put together. I can't say thank you enough, and I can't speak highly enough about their attention to detail in this process. At the end of that rubric process, unlike a lot of materials situations that I've been a part of in other districts, we were very close with 2 curriculums at both grade bands. So at the elementary grade band and at the secondary. So tonight in our instructional materials plan, you'll see this, but we are recommending two curriculums for elementary and 2 curriculums for secondary, with the idea that when we pull together principals and we have some more conversation with our teachers, and as we start into this 20-day period, that will help us make some very focused decisions about which ones. So at this time for elementary, our 2 top selections were Great Minds Eureka Mathematics, which is a mathematics program that a lot of our elementary schools are currently using. And then Curriculum and Associates has a new Ready Mathematics set of core curriculum that they presented that our folks were very excited about. So we have those 2 for elementary. For secondary, we have Discovery Mathematics, the math tech book, and then we have McGraw-Hill's Florida Reveal Math. All of that, along with our plan, which will be available on the website beginning tomorrow, and that will start our 20-day period. We encourage everyone to go and take a look. If you're interested, there are public-facing links, and all of the information is there for you, so you can take a look if you're interested. On February 5th, we will have, at the next board meeting, we'll open up for public comment, and on the 15th from 10 to 10:30, we'll do an open public meeting to approve materials. So we invite anyone who was not a part of the process who would like to take a look and give us some feedback to please do that. We want to make the right decision for students and teachers in Putnam County.
So these books are already just automatically aligned with Florida standards?
Automatically? Well, the great news is with Ready, Discovery Mathematics, and McGraw-Hill, we found a very strong correlation. In fact, teachers did not find holes in the standards alignment. In Eureka, there are 5 missing standards for elementary, which sounds a little bit concerning, but the consensus of the team was what teachers would have to fill for those 5 standards is made up for by the fact that that program builds conceptual knowledge at such a student-centered way and so deeply that the folks on the committee just felt like it was still a very strong contender.
And the teachers could introduce those standards that...
And these will be textbooks?
These are textbooks. The one that is not is the Discovery Mathematics textbook.
Okay,
there are some printed materials with that, but it is not the traditional just student textbooks. The bulk of that is digital.
Well, if they're not
so that is important.
If they weren't approved by the state, we couldn't utilize them anyway.
That's right. All of these are on the state
adoption list.
Yes, yes.
When did you say the public hearing was?
The board meeting for public comment is February 5th, and then the open public meeting to approve will be February 15th from 10 to 10:30.
And I'm going to give you all these dates during my report too, so I'll reiterate that whenever we go over dates, meeting dates.
Right. Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you all so much. Okay. Next item, discussion, input, and action response to request for information USDA letter for Putnam Edge.
Madam Chair, can I speak to that?
Yes, sir.
And you should have a copy of the letter.
Yes.
With 2 attachments in your materials. In the letter, it talks about Ms. Freeman contacted me indicating that USDA had requested a follow-up to the original letter. You recall, I believe September is in the fall, you approved a letter, initial letter, that was signed by the board chair at the time, recommending that Edge be eligible for the USDA loan.
Right.
And this is USDA asking for an update on the concerns that we indicated with that original letter. And you recall the 2 concerns were the timeliness of financial reporting and some of the accuracy of the data that is reported to the Florida Department of Education. So what we did is we actually contacted Ms. Odom to provide us information since that letter, not going all the way back, but since the letter was approved, we did an update, which you have a copy of that attachment. And then we had Stacy Owens and Data Processing also give you an update. And if you have a question about either one of those attachments, Ms. Odom or Ms. France can, expound on that. And the letter, of course, will be signed by the board chair, just because the initial letter was signed by the board chair as well. So we want to make sure this is coming from the school board.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did Edge write the letter, or are we writing the letter responding? We're writing the letter?
We wrote it.
Yeah, the letter will be coming from the school board signed by the board chair.
Okay, is the letter in agreement with the Edge folks? I was just curious. Have you seen it?
I think for the most part, some of the things Ms. Owens mentioned, was a fact of the school opening late, which made changes in the calendar, which then we needed to ensure that we had the proper seat time. So, and we did all of those things. Those were done. So,
well, I would just like to say, I think that the fact that you now have a principal who is an experienced principal just really gives me encouragement about the future of EDGE.
Yeah.
thank you.
Now, regarding the information that we received, you said the 2 attachments for clarification. Are we saying, am I to understand that the initial letter we have here and the 2 attachments that we have, now we're going to redo the letter, including this information?
No, we're not redoing it. This
Okay.
is an additional letter. This is an update. And all we're providing is factual information.
Okay.
For you to make a decision whether to approve this letter or not. But we want it to be as factual, non-judgmental as possible, and just provided you strictly the updated information from those 2 departments.
Okay.
I think they've come a long ways. I don't want to hamper their ability to by some non-essential wording to keep them from being able to obtain the loan to keep it going.
Okay, so with that being said, Mr. Buckles, we need to make sure that each of us have read the letter and agree with it.
Would you like me to read it
Because
out
my
loud?
signature will be on
I would
on the
prefer,
letter.
you can read it out
I'd
loud,
like
but I
for
would
us
like to read it myself as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
You didn't read it
It was
prior
on
to
the,
this?
on our.
Yeah, it was in
agenda.
our documents.
Yes.
I didn't-
Why
in our
don't you read
document.
it,
I
Sandy?
don't think she's.
I saw it online, yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
read it
that's
online,
right.
but I
Yeah,
would like
that's
for
why I
you
printed it out.
to read it, and we can say whether or not.
Madam Chair, before you read it, can I offer one clarification?
Yes, sir.
Because initially, I prepared the letter, and I want to make sure it's the letter's actually being signed by you.
Yes.
If you look at the second sentence, I would like to change where it says, Mrs. Freeman requesting an update.
Yes.
Should be from the superintendent's office rather than my office.
Okay.
So if we could change that wording before we vote on that.
Date from my office to
Superintendent's office.
superintendent's office.
All right, you don't, she does, Ms. Pickens doesn't have that, but I'm looking now.
Well, that's why I asked Sandy to read it.
What I'm going to do is allow Mrs. Crawford, if you will, to share the letter, and that way we will, with that correction that has been made. if you will.
This is addressed to Rebecca Manning at USDA. Dear Ms. Manning, I am responding to a request from Pat Freeman, Chairman of the Board of the EDGE Charter School. Mrs. Freeman requested an update from the Superintendent's Office concerning the Putnam County School, the concerns the Putnam County School Board had when the board approved a letter of recommendation to the USDA on date of board meeting. The 2 concerns related to the timeliness of financial reporting to the district and the accurate reporting of the student data to FLDOE. I have attached a copy of the response from Rhonda Odom, Chief Financial Officer for the Putnam County School District. Mrs. Odom provides a summary of financial reporting to the district since the board approved the letter of recommendation. I have also attached a summary from Stacy Owens, who is the representative from the Putnam County School District's Data Processing Office. Stacy provides a list of items that continue to be a concern for the district's Data Processing Office. If you have any questions regarding the letter and attachments, feel free to contact my office.
And that should be the superintendent's office.
Can I,
Oh, yeah.
Superintendent's
can
office.
I look at it myself? Not that I don't doubt what you just read, but I'm a visual learner.
And also, one more correction is on the date of the board meeting. Ms. Cormany is actually going to put this.
Put in the date.
Put the actual date of the board meeting.
Okay. And
Is that it?
and 2, the factual things that have been listed by the
Jane.
Is it your office, Mr. Superintendent, stating?
Is that the date of the meeting?
That's the day of the meeting.
Stating that with the one item being the financial reporting and everything, and how well that had come along, and that even during the time when the person was sick, got in contact with Mrs. Odom and took care of it and got it in. So it looks like that is moving in the direction in a positive way that we have requested.
I'm not sure that letter's
Can I ask?
sounds that way though.
Can I ask a question? Why can't we just say, I have attached a copy of the response from Rhonda Odom, Chief Financial Officer for Putnam County School District. Mrs. Odom provides a summary of financial reporting to the district since the board approved the letter of recommendation, and just let it go.
And, well, and also the same way with about what Stacy, don't put in their concerns, let them
Yeah,
just
I mean,
read that and figure it out for themselves.
in other words, they we had, they had a rough go of it, but
Yeah,
they're
I mean,
they're
and
up
those
and going.
concerns have been addressed and they're,
See, and that's what you and Jane are saying.
Yeah, just
Allow
put that on
these
there.
pieces of factual information that you have stated, just say see attachments or whatever.
I know
yeah,
that
as far as the data processing piece and as far as Rhonda's piece.
I know that-
And just include that.
our board did lean over backwards to ensure, under board direction, that our employees did work with Edge to correct this problem, and they're probably still maybe having some lagging difficulties, but
Well,
if
then
you-
they've got a brand new data processing
yeah, but
person
and
that's
if you
having
go
to
into,
learn all
if you,
this.
I just would like to see it simplified that here's just a copy of the response from Rhonda Odom, and provide our chief financial officer, and just let it go, but that's me, because they continue to make strides every day. I don't know, something like that. But I mean, I understand that staff was correct in trying to cover everything, but I don't necessarily know that that's exactly the information they want. I mean, only if they're wanting to deny a USDA loan would they want, give us this detailed stuff. You want to look at it?
So, Mr.
Okay.
Buckles, are you asking on that part from Stacy Owens? Stacy provides a list of items from the district's data processing office, or an attachment?
I don't know that that's necessary. I think it was chiefly financial, but I mean, that's up to a majority of the board.
Take out the area of concern.
Yeah, if you just take out the last sentence, Stacy provides a list of it, continue
Yeah.
to be, if you just stop with just one sentence,
Okay.
it's not
I mean, that's up to y'all.
negative sounding.
Because when you look at the list from Stacy, yes, you mentioned staff turnover. We're having a turnover in our principal. But the other two items were one-time things because we opened late, had to adjust our calendar, So to me, that's not all a list of ongoing concerns.
Well, I think,
Continued concerns.
Yes.
yeah, I think what I'm hearing is.
Ms. France has something too.
Okay.
We want to make a clarification on why those are concerns. And Rhonda, you can probably go back and because it could become a financial concern. If your FTE is not reported appropriately and you do not get all of your funding, they are already being funded for what they have in place, not possibly what their FTE will end up being when it's recalculated. And so if you are not clear that those are things that could possibly affect funding in the future, I think that that's a problem that you just dismiss it. That's the only concern I have, is those lapses may actually affect funding in the future.
There are state remedies for those funding problems as well, so.
Have they had their recalibrated counts from last year yet? No. So the district will get recalibrated accounts from the data that they were given last year, and they will be reduced funding if there are recalibrated counts don't match what they were given last year. So it is a year-by-year problem when data is not correct. That's the only reason why it becomes something that you need to make sure is clear.
Right, but in the bottom line, we're not going to be paying their bill, correct? I mean, we're not going to be held responsible if they don't get enough funding.
What she's speaking of is that if they're recalibrated,
FTE.
the district money will be taken away, and then we have to go back to the charter schools if we get a recalibration that's lower than what was reported and reduce the money.
And that's not uncommon. There are remedies there are remedies for that in the state. I just feel like we're hamstringing Edge. I mean, we've gone this far. I mean, why? I understand Ms. Francis' concern, but we might as well, you know, give them the opportunity to succeed and to continue to try. I mean, you can go to an A school district next to us and you can find problems all day long if you want to find them. You can find an A school and I'll show you where they've got bad stuff. So, I mean, if you want to make it look bad, you can make it look bad. If you want to make it look like we're satisfied, which I'm very pleased to see the progress they've made, I would prefer that, but it's going to be up to a majority of you
Well,
guys.
I just don't think there's anybody on this board, I mean, I can only speak for myself, that doesn't support their efforts to try to correct the problems that they've had. And, I mean, I want to send a letter that supports them.
Well, does this need to be a motion or just everybody just a consensus?
I think it should be a motion and voted on. And I think from a legal perspective, I would say that the USDA has reached out to the district and they are acting in reliance on what the district reports to them in regard to whether a loan should be given or not. I don't want the USDA coming back to the board and saying we didn't receive full information. That could be.
But is that what they asked for to begin with, financial information?
You sent the email, and I don't have the email in front of me, but the email you indicated.
They were just asking for an update, you know, to the original letter.
But the original letter they asked for was whether or not we supported y'all.
But
Did it ask for specific information about funding or finances?
The letter, in our letter, your letter.
Yeah.
I
know.
You listed those as two concerns. And that's
y'all did. We just voted on it.
Yeah, and they're following up on those concerns.
But we cleaned that letter up substantially.
We did.
In a meeting, in a public meeting, and I think if you cut it off with what Ms. Odom said, I think you're answering their question. I really do. Without the.
And then they can look at the addendum.
Final paragraph.
I wouldn't even say concerns again. That was a word they used in their letters. We
and let them look at that, David, and decide if
and
it's
they'll
a
decide,
concern or not.
and they'll call us back and say, "Hey, we want more."
Yeah.
Okay. So then, as a board, am I hearing from the board that we are satisfied with our opening paragraph with the correction of, instead of my office, the superintendent's office, then the second paragraph regarding what Mrs. Odom has stated, omitting the third paragraph and keeping the last sentence. If you have any questions regarding the letter and attachments, and we are going to send the attachments stating that, yes, they're moving in this direction, and with the surveys, the FTE surveys that were taken that stated X number of students had X number of hours, seat time, etc. And close it out. If you have any questions regarding the letter and attachments, feel free to contact superintendent's office. Is that
and the date? And the date, you put the date on.
Yes, sir. It's going. That date would be put in 10/10/18, October 10th, 2018.
The date of the original approval.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the letter with corrections to send to the USDA in support of Putnam Edge.
But for the purpose of discussion, I'll second the motion. All right, now, for discussion, my question would be, I still haven't seen the email from USDA, but I can imagine
I
about.
think that went to Mrs. Freeman.
Went to Pat Freeman.
No, I didn't see the email either. Okay.
Let me just read through this.
Yes.
Staff turnover, slight turnover in edge staff, as in all schools in America.
Do you have a copy of the email, Pat?
USD has recalculated the requirement modified based on code provided there does appear to be enough seat time. Successfully transmit 100. Able to transfer.
Pat, I think you emailed me, right? Did you email me the letter from them, or you just email requesting?
Email where they had conveyed to our consultant that they wanted just an update from the original letter.
Okay. Okay, can you pull up Pat's
And I
email?
sent that to you on December the 11th.
Right. I mean, to my email. Do a search on my email.
You already have it?
Yeah.
Okay, Mrs. Odom has already pulled
Okay,
it
you
up.
got it? Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't hear you tell me over there. Thank you for doing that. And I was going to read this. This is a letter from Ms. Freeman. It says, it was a pleasure to meet with you and Ms. Gilliard last week to provide an update on the Putnam Edge High School. Also shared with you the status of the loan and a request from Stephanie Hodges, the area director for the USDA, for an update on the collaboration between PCSD and Putnam Edge High School regarding your concerns. The two areas of focus at the workshop and meetings was, number one, timeliness of financial reports, and number two, data management. Financials from August 2018 were sent to Ms. Odom on September 20th. Financials were sent October 22nd, and the 20th was on a Saturday, so sent the next work day, and October financials were sent November 27th. Mr. Trainer has been very ill for over a week and had communicated with Ms. Odom regarding the delay. The next paragraph has to do with data management. I've spoken with our data clerk, Ms. Camuzzi, is that Ms. Camuzzi, as well as Randy Hestrom, who's our liaison. Randy's liaison with the charter schools. About the data management, Sheila Fields is providing oversight, ongoing training, and support to Ms. Camuzzi, and we are pleased with the progress that has been made over the past 2 months. Ms. Fields has provided valuable assistance to Ms. Camuzzi when information is needed and deadlines are looming. She has also offered to walk her through a procedure or process in her training. I personally have seen a significant decline in the number of emails requesting corrections. The outcomes have been positive from this close working relationship, and we expect it will continue to benefit both of us. And then she gave me the address to send the letter.
All that's well and good. I'm looking down at these responses. Staff turnovers, fairly easy to explain. I mean, there's
We got them.
we got the same concern.
We got the same.
Thank you, Ron.
And in the hourly equivalent, it says that we got that straightened out. There's gotten better. Requirements earned, looks like there does appear to be enough seat time, but when you get down to survey reporting requirements, I mean, you could go as deep to the bad if you wanted in that, or you could go as far to the good as you wanted with that. So I don't know if that, to me, that final survey is not exactly necessary, but if that's what they, I mean, I could say we're going to, I would say in spite of some of the difficulties they have encountered along the way, the school district of Putnam County is committed, the school board is committed to working with EDGE, and hopefully this will satisfy your concerns. But that's what I wish it said, but that's not, I'm just me.
Okay.
But you as a board, I'm not the one writing the letter, so it'll be up to you guys to comment.
Can I ask our board attorney just to maybe expound, but is there any liability on our board one way or the other as far as how they present this letter?
The only thing I can see, if the USDA went forward with the loan and some way down the line there was a default, and then the USDA tried to say they were not given full information. They might try to.
But we got it on there.
Well, I mean, I was
your question
saying.
was if maybe I misunderstood your question.
No,
I want to know what the worst case scenario. I want y'all to be perfectly open.
Indemnified as a board as
that
well.
we are not liable for that.
Well, I understand that.
I just want Charlie to, make sure he explains to y'all what's the parameters, how this could affect our board. One way or the other.
I recognize there's a balance, and I'm hearing from the board that you don't want to in any way handicap Edge in getting the loan. And so if there are ways that maybe the letter could be improved or certain phrases changed so that it does not have a judgmental tone, I think maybe there is a compromise.
Even with a compromise follow-up that says, even if you leave this information from the FTE, a compromise follow-up that says, Edge has endured in spite of the problems encountered early on due to their, some changes that they had to make, and the district is committed to to working with them as they proceed in this process. I mean,
or the school board is.
The school board, yeah. However if you think that's, allowable, Charlie.
I mean, if that is the will of the board to add in a sentence maybe in the cover letter to say something
well, the sentence would make it more palatable without, I mean, you could go in there and say, well, I had one of the employees curse me out for this or that, I mean, how much do you want to say? Or you could say, hey, they're doing great. They had free coffee and donuts when I went by. And, I mean, you can go either way with this. So
right, if it's the will of the board to have a sentence in there that says the board recognizes the strides that, the efforts that Edge have been making, and we continue to support them in their progress. Some encouraging language like that.
Please let us know if we need to do anything else.
But whatever we do, we need to do it right now because they have been waiting.
Well, I think Charlie knows what we're talking about.
But how are we going?
The board needs to vote on it.
We need to do it now.
Well, I don't know that we're going to write the letter now because it's going to she has to sign it. But it is all of us that are going to do it.
Well, it would only be one more.
All right, we've got a motion and a second.
All right, this is the discussion portion.
Okay, we're still in discussion.
We're still in discussion as to how we want to sum it up. I like where you're leading.
Yes,
add what Charlie just said.
And what a combination of what Charlie and Mr. Attorney and
So what
Mr.
I've heard
Buckles
so
have
far
said.
is that based on board member Pickens' recommendation to strike the last sentence, that would eliminate the word.
But we struck the whole last paragraph.
The last paragraph, yes.
I like that struck, yes. And a follow-up from you that says we continue to, I like struck out, struck out. I mean, because it is really, you can make this as bad as you want it. Charlie could jot it down right now and read it back to us. I mean, really.
Because I want to vote on it.
Yes.
Right now.
Well, we got a motion second, so we're going to have to do something.
Okay, so am I hearing the will of the board not to include the second attachment?
No, I believe it needs to be
I think the attachments
attached.
need to go with it.
But that is not an attachment from Rhonda Odom. That is an attachment from data. So I just want to be factual.
That's why I think the first sentence in the last paragraph should remain, because it calls attention to the attachment.
Right.
That's what
So
I
we're
think.
saying go back and put in, I've also attached a summary from Stacy Owens, who is the representative from the Putnam County School District Data Processing Office.
Yes.
Period.
That period.
That's
Okay,
fine. That's
all right,
fine.
so we now are saying we're going to add that sentence back and
The last paragraph that says.
that states a combination of what you suggested,
Of a-
Mr. Attorney.
of a
and what
positive
Mr.
tone.
Buckles suggested.
Get ready, right.
So the new paragraph would be inserted directly above the last sentence if you have any questions.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I think it was something along the lines of the board recognizes the continued efforts made by Edge to improve.
To improve, and we look forward to a positive relationship in the future. something like that, you know?
Tina's writing it down as we're
I'm
speaking, so-
trying.
You're gonna have to check her spelling.
Okay, the board recognizes the continued efforts made by EDGE to improve. Didn't we say something about?
Our
Is that
support.
it?
We mentioned our support or something.
Well, and we look forward to a great working relationship in the future, or something like.
That wasn't what you said. You said, we can continue to support.
And I wasn't an English teacher. I think you were.
I know, but y'all said something that sounded good, and I don't remember what it was.
I'm messing with you.
We could end it with the board recognizes the continued efforts made by EDGE to improve.
And, yeah, and
offers our
And offers our continued support?
yeah,
Yes.
that's what, I think that says a little bit like, here's this stuff if you're that interested, but it's still going, we're working
Sharon,
with
did you get
them.
all that?
I have the board recognizes the continued efforts made by EDGE to improve and offers our continued support.
That's it. You a good secretary.
All right, we've got a.
Thank you, Mrs. Carmody.
So do I need to change my motion, because I did say the corrections that we made in the letter?
You'll need
Now,
to.
does she need to?
I'll withdraw my second.
Withdraw.
I withdraw my second.
Yeah, let's rescind the second and the motion, and then start with a new motion.
Okay,
I withdraw my second.
I withdraw my motion.
okay.
All right, now make a new motion.
I make a motion that we accept the letter with the changes that have been mentioned and noted by the board secretary.
Second that.
All right, all in favor, let it be known by aye.
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 Opposes? Motion carries 5-0.
Whew.
Mrs. Carmody? Oh, excuse me. Mrs. Carmody, excuse me. You will have this ready and I'll come by tomorrow morning and sign it, or?
I will not be here tomorrow. Can you come by Thursday?
Thursday, yes, I can. All right.
Now, I'll be here Thursday for expulsion hearings. If you want me to sign as the vice chair, I could, but I mean.
Okay, no
I
problem.
mean, I don't know if that would be easier for you if you want to come by, one or the other. Probably be better to have the chairman though, wouldn't it, Charlie? What do you think?
Yes.
Charlie, hello. Wouldn't it be better to have the chairman than the vice chairman sign it though, you think?
Absolutely.
Probably, okay.
We'll do that. Okay. Okay. All right, at this time, we will have our reports by board members, the board attorney, and the superintendent. And this time, we'll start with you, Mrs. Crawford.
Okay. The first thing I'd like to mention is the work done by the calendar committee. Apparently still working, because after the two options, how many we have end up, Mark? Six. They narrowed it down to two and put those two out for the employees of Putnam County School District to look at, and got a couple of further suggestions that they're going to look at, possibly adding to the options for the school district to vote on. This Friday, I'm looking forward to judging the countywide spelling bee here. If any of y'all don't have something to do Friday about 10 o'clock, it's just an amazing thing to watch. Those kids are so smart.
It's going to be at the Board of County Commissioners.
Ooh, never mind. Board of I'm glad I said something.
Because you would have been here.
I'd have been right here at 9:30 because President Pickens said he needs to meet with us, BOCC. It's been there before.
Okay.
Saturday, I'll be attending the Martin Luther King breakfast. I think the superintendent's going as well, and that's always a wonderful occasion to go to. I did something last Friday that just gave me all kinds of feelings. I went to Valdosta, Georgia, to watch the War of the Border football game, where the Florida kids that were picked by their coaches played the Georgia kids that were picked by their coaches. Palatka High School had 3 students, Jalen Session, Macaroni, Trayvon Williams, and Jacob Burney, who played in that game. They got the experience of playing on a college field. it was just fabulous. And you know, pulling for a team, you know, they met boys that they'd played against all season long, and they practiced, I think, for a week in Stark. And the head football coach of Clay High was the coach of the South team. And I just have to tell you that it will probably be the only time in my life that I was rooting for Florida. But I thought about you the whole time. I thought, oh, if they could hear me pulling for Florida. But it was a great experience, and our kids did so well.
Scouts were recruited.
There were some scouts and recruiters there. And all three of our boys, all the boys on the team got to play. They rotated them in and out. So it was just a really, really great experience for them. And I was glad to take part in that. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. McInnes?
Me? I had the opportunity to attend the Superintendent's Advisory Council meeting yesterday at West Putnam.
I did that.
And it was well represented. We had administrators from Melrose, IHS, and Price Middle School, and Aquila. Got some good feedback, got some good reports, and it was my first meeting I've ever been in this capacity, so it was enlightening. And I want to put it out there. I don't know if this is for the math adoption, but if you have any Legos, Browning Piers needs Legos. Probably a lot of schools need Legos. I'll put it out there.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Buckles?
Well, I do have a few things I'd like to bring up. I was, first would be that, Ms. Crawford, I'm sorry that University of Florida had such rigid academic requirements that you weren't able to get in.
I got accepted.
But anyway,
to Florida, thank
I
you
will.
very much, but I wanted to go to a real
I
university.
would like to a couple of things. The discipline workshop. I'm looking forward. I mean, who looks forward to that? Really, I say looking forward to it. I think it's something we've been waiting on and trying to get the right time, and the time has ripened to do something, and to have the support of the teachers and school employees behind us will mean a lot when the parents condemn things that we try to do. So anyway, it's time, and appreciate everybody that came out to do that. I went through some education bills that I pulled off, and I know the superintendent was in Tallahassee the other day, but we're looking at House Bill 147, which has duties to assist attached to it. And I think that's going to be in case, that's probably related to the Parkland shooting incident, Rick. And I would assume, I have not read the entire bill, but we're going to have to find out exactly what they mean. I'm not sure that they can require that somebody assist someone in a hail of gunfire, but I mean, you would hope that people would, but I mean, that's going to be an interesting discussion, however the bill reads out. And Senate Bill 174 on panic alarms, that's a recipe for disaster if somebody, that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out as well. So discipline and school shootings and safety is impacting everything that we do. Then the last one of particular concern is Senate Bill 312 by Montford, and that will be alternative high school grading requirements. I think it's important that we get in and get our licks in for some of the vocational alternatives. I'm losing my voice.
Glad he did that.
That we're trying to do, and hopefully that won't change, and that's why we need to strike while the iron is hot. And while we've got Bill there, he used to be a superintendent, and he's still the head of the Superintendent's Association.
Yes, he is.
In Leon County. But anyway, with that, I'm just looking forward to a good year, and hopefully things will continue to improve. But with that, I'll pass.
Okay, Mrs. Pickens.
Okay, yesterday there was an insurance committee meeting, and I attended. One thing that Joe from Avail did say is that we are not climbing at the same rate. We're kind of leveling off a little bit, so that's positive. He mentioned the programs that we had put in place having to do with the positive trend. He also encouraged the board to have the workshop, which I think is scheduled for February 5th.
Yeah, I'm gonna read that to you.
He encouraged us to be proactive rather than reactive and waiting till the last minute. when they're trying to get people enrolled. They said that Planet Fitness was just finishing the process to be a part of the Simply Engaged program. And I would just say anyone that's on our insurance really needs to take advantage of that rally. I personally do it. I love the missions. I like a good challenge. And you get gift cards. I mean, it's kind of a win-win to me. I would also like to, I went to the Jarvis Williams Christmas tournament. Crescent City was playing Citrus High School, and that was my first experience there. And it's a boys varsity, a JV tournament, as well as a girls tournament. And the organization that has to go into planning something like that, a 3-day event, 3 different types of teams, I just wanted to say, you know, thank you. It was really, it was very encouraging. It was an early game. It wasn't but we won. Crescent City won. And that always makes it good. And then last week I also went to the Black High Crescent City basketball game at Crescent City, and it was a really well-played game, close at the end. And but there was a lot of sportsmanship, and you could tell that Coach Carter and Coach Oxendine they have mutual respect for one another. Yes, it was really a good county game. And then last, I got to see the new gym floor at Miller, not new gym floor, refinished gym floor, and at Miller Middle. And you know, if you ever get a chance, you ought to go to Miller and look at their gym. It is just the neatest old building. It just reminds me of my dad playing basketball back at University of Florida in the 50s. It's just it's a neat building. So that's it. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year.
Okay. I just want to say thank you to all of you for your prayers. My surgery went well. The doctor said they got everything they needed to get. I went yesterday for my CT planning, and anybody that get tattoos, oh my God, they had to put a tattoo 3 on me, and I didn't ask for that, and I kind of let them know I came out pouting because it did hurt.
Were you on a motorcycle?
Oh man, but everything, the care that I'm receiving and the prayers that went up, I just thank all of you. And I want to just segue with what you mentioned about the insurance. We must, as a board, make that insurance affordable for our employees. Amen. Because they called, I was out they have me running and doing all kind of things. I was out, and my niece gave me a message, and she said, they said for you to show up for your pre-op, but don't show up without almost $3,000. And I'm thinking, now who do I know that I can rob and get $3,000? But thanks be to God, I had insurance that took care of 100% of it. And that's what we need for our people. The worst thing that could have happened to me was needing this surgery and not knowing if I could afford it or where it would come from. And so insurance committee, you just keep doing your thing so that our people can be covered. And when these things happen to them, you know, it can be addressed.
So Sandy, you don't have board insurance? School board insurance?
I have Medicare and a secondary insurance with another company that took care 100%.
Wonderful.
100%. And otherwise, I don't know what I would have done. I will be receiving 20 treatments thereafter, but it's nothing. It is nothing. She said the worst was the tattooing, and that's over. I need to ask, when will we be recognizing our school-related employees and teachers of the year? When is that celebration?
Right here. January 24th.
Okay. The reason I needed to know that is because we initially talked about our 20-plus employees, saying thank you to them with some type of get-together, something that would show our 20-plus employees that you stuck around that long. We need to show you how much we appreciate you and say thank you. I've looked and maybe I've been missing it. I have not gotten it yet. But we want to go ahead and take care of this first, and then we want to jump on that and say thank you, because it's nothing like hearing thank you, that you're doing a great job like we did to CeeLo, coming up from a D to a B, you know, hard work and dedication, and so we have to support them. And that ends mine. Mr. Board Attorney?
Everything
Mr.
is...
Oh, and I want to thank you personally. When I got in from my sister's house, because she made me move in with her until I was able to do for myself, they told me that I had gotten some flowers, and I was anxious to find out who they were from. And finally, when I got home 4 or 5 days later, not at the hospital, because mine was in and out, but Regina made me stay with her until I could take care of myself. I want to thank you for that. That just made my day. Thank you.
Thank you. So everything is going well in the legal department. Got a lot of projects going on with the superintendent, the district, and things are going well.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Mr. Superintendent.
Yeah, let me just point out for your calendar, and we will send you an email just to make sure we have the correct dates. On February 5th, we have a workshop, an insurance workshop with Mr. Albritton at 1 p.m. And that will be right before the regular 3:30 meeting. So just put on your calendar 1 p.m. insurance workshop. And on February 15th.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Okay.
Ms. France, tell me if I'm wrong. On the 15th, we have a 10 a.m. special board meeting to approve the instructional materials for the math approval, for the math adoption. That's at 10 a.m. At 10:30, we have a workshop on district improvement initiatives.
Yes, and that will be with LSI and update with Mosley and Miller.
Right.
The programs we're doing.
Right. The schools that are have the partner in the external operations.
Yes,
okay. And I want to schedule the discipline workshop. Did I hear you want to try to schedule that sometime in February?
We can. Sooner the better.
What I would like to do is look at the calendar. Can I email you some dates?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then what I would like you to do, board members individually, if you could email me any specific information you would like to have brought to the discipline workshop, and I'll get with our staff and we'll prepare, you know, some information for you. So February, and we'll look at the calendar because it's getting pretty busy in February, but we'll try to find a date that's workable for everybody. Okay? Can we work on that this week? Okay. Real quick, just want to talk about how we've been trying to communicate with our stakeholders. And Mr. McGinnis talked about the SAC meeting. We had that last night in Larkin. Tonight we have one for Central. Next week we'll have one in Crescent City. Prior to the SAC, the Superintendent's Advisory Council meeting, we have been holding student advisory meetings at our high schools. Today we met with students from Palatka High, Jenkins, and CeeLo. Last night we met with students yesterday from Interlaken High Price. Next week we'll meet with Crescent City and Miller Middle. And we are getting a wealth of information. We ask them 2 questions on a piece of paper. Write down what do you like about your school, and write down what's an area of improvement for your school. So we're getting some real good information. I will say one positive that is kind of prevalent, which I'm very proud of our staff, and that is they have good relationships with their teachers, their administrators, their non-instructional staff. That is the overriding theme for the positives.
How did you get your students?
They were selected by the school administration.
They usually don't like their lunches, though.
Yeah, that came out too, but yeah, we made strides there. But I'll share with you later. I don't want to taint what the future group might say, but you know, they made some suggestions, and we're taking that to heart. So I'll share those with you later. Okay. If you would allow me, I have a short paragraph I want to read that is related to our recent Advanced Ed accreditation visit. I think some of you were questioned by the visiting team. And right now, the final report has not been approved by Advanced Ed, but we have received a preliminary report, been very favorable, and we'll give you the full report when it comes out. But if you don't mind, I want to read a short summary paragraph, if it's okay. I know it's getting late,
okay.
But I think it will give you kind of an overall view of how the entire trip went. Putnam County Schools Engagement Review yielded an awareness by the team that visited, of a system which is, quote, trending up, to use a phrase coined by district leaders. The superintendent provided us with evidence of an impoverished school system where he insisted, quote, poverty is not an excuse. The team found a caring family of educators whose mission was clearly about supporting students to be successful and responsible citizens, caring for the whole child in doing so. It was most interesting to note that the creative educators of the Putnam County school system are simply committed to utilizing strategies and innovative practices to support all students to be fully successful each step of their journey, regardless of their limited access to opportunities students in neighboring systems are able to access. Their continuous improvement journey provides a structure for analyzing and responding to local classroom and school data. While the district accepts responsibility for the systematic thread which is evolving with the exciting leadership reorganization, Putnam County Schools has a great handle on the expectations of continuous improvement as they work to fully embed them throughout the system. So that's very positive, and I think you're gonna, when we share the results, I think you'll be very proud.
That term embeddedness was, and being embedded in the system was a big term with them.
Yep. Yeah, big time. So we got some things in place, and I think you got a lot to be proud of, school board. Thanks.
We're moving toward that.
I know.
Yes.
School board. I know. Yeah, when we get down there at the meeting.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay. If there is nothing else to come before the board, we declare this meeting is adjourned.